Hi, I'm Tamra, and this is Anything is Possible. Welcome back. This week I am going to do a little shopping trip. I watch quite a bit of YouTube, and a lot of it is women's channels, and they're forever doing little shopping trips. And this time I am going to do one to hardware stores. As you may know from my previous videos, I really like doing woodworking, and I also have just little home repair things to do around the place. And when I lived in the United States, my favorite hardware store was always Ace, and there was one a few blocks from my home, and I would just zip over there and really helpful people. And if there wasn't something specific that I needed, I didn't know exactly, but I had a problem to solve, I would just browse the aisles until I found something that would actually serve the purpose to solve the problem that I had. It wasn't always that I needed, screws or nails or something like that. It was sort of I had a problem, and I needed to find some specific little thing that would allow me to solve a problem that I had. So things are a little bit different here. So I thought I would just start out. First off, hardware stores here are called ferreterias, and it has nothing to do with ferrets. It actually comes from the word ferrous, which is iron. So if you look for them, they're all over the place. I'm showing a map here of the town of Chapala, and there are many ferreterias in that area. Also in my area, I have, probably 4 or 5 within easy walking distance of my house. No need to get the car out even. I can just wander around and go to 2 or 3 to find what I need. They're all small, usually privately owned. It's not a huge chain, and each one, has real similar things, but some have more than the other. So if you don't find something at one, you can just walk to the next one and find what you need. I understand in Guadalajara there is Home Depot, but for my own reasons, I don't like to shop with Home Depot, and I do try and avoid large corporate-owned stores to begin with. I'd rather be supporting a local family that's, hiring local people and feeding local families rather than having money go to a corporation, but that's just me. So since they don't build a lot out of wood here, the hardware stores are generally geared towards construction, and so they don't have a wide supply of things like nails and screws, which are used for wood construction. They have all kinds of things for masonry construction and plaster and that sort of thing. They usually do, but you have to ask. All of that is behind the counter. So my previous way of just browsing around the store and helping myself to a bag of nails or a box of screws and looking to see what exactly the size is that I want and everything, you kind of have to go into it knowing precisely what size you need, and you have to ask at the counter for any small parts like that, and they'll help you, but it's a matter of asking rather than just browsing and helping yourself. I guess it's probably because of they can lose a lot of money with people just walking off with, this and that or pocketing it. So that's the only reason I can think. A lot of them are very small stores also, and they don't have a huge supply of things. So there's one hardware store near me where they have bins with small bags of nails and screws that you can look through. have to kind of know specifically what it is I want. What I found was probably the best approach is actually to get onto Amazon Mexico, and you can type in what you need in English, and it will go and it'll bring up what that part is, and it'll show a picture of it and have the name, and then you could actually take that with your phone and show it to the person at the counter, and they will understand. I have some plants that are kind of flopping over, and they need to be wired up, attached to the wall again, and of course the wall in the garden is masonry wall. I was looking for screw eyes with anchors. You drill a hole into the masonry wall, hammer in an anchor, and then screw the screw eye into that. And so I thought screw eye. Well, screw is tornillo here, and eye is ojo. So I went into the hardware store and I said, tornillo de ojo. And they looked at me like I was crazy. And it really wasn't that far off, because once I looked it up on Amazon, it calls them ganchos de ojo. So it actually is similar. I guess that's wall anchors. I don't know. Eye anchors. Anyway, so once I got the point across, we kind of drew pictures for each other actually, and so I ended up finding some, but they were smaller than I really needed for one job. So then I went on a mission to another hardware store, and they didn't have any at all. No, none. So then I finally went to a big store in Ajijic that is called Tool Town. And I thought they mostly had tools. And at first time I went in, I was very intimidated because I thought, I just needed to get some screws, and I didn't know the word for screws, and I wanted to look at them, because I wanted decking screws, which I don't even know if they have decking screws, and I didn't know how to ask, so I kind of gave up. I went in with one of the small ones, and I said, necesito más grande. I need one that's bigger. And it turns out the guy spoke fluent English, thank goodness. And so he says, well, we don't, so I said, I need cuatro. And he says, oh, we only sell them by the bag. So I said, well, okay, Turns out I had to buy 70. 70! I don't need 70. So then it turned out he wanted to know what I needed to do, and I told him just attach a plant up to a wall with some wire, and so he led me to some different types of screw eyes that actually are better. They expand. You drill the hole and put the anchor into the wall and then screw it in, and the anchor expands out, kind of like a molly bolt, only they're specifically made for masonry walls. So, I guess if they have good workers in the stores, you can describe what it is you need, then they can help you. But a lot of these little stores, they don't really speak English very well. Now, a lot of the local hardware stores have associated lots that are not necessarily right next to the store. Some of them have like a garage area, but a lot of them have large lots where they sell the building materials that construction companies need. And they'll have big piles of gravel and sand and bricks and concrete blocks and the wire structures that they use to stabilize walls, and all kinds of things like that. It's PVC pipe for plumbing and that sort of thing. If you go to one, you might not know that they have all of that available if you were going to need it for some reason. Most people hire someone to build their walls because, the people here really know what they're doing when they're building. And those of us who come down are not really very expert in building the way they do here in Mexico. So I'm going to walk through a couple of different hardware stores here and just show you what they generally look like when you're passing by on the street. Most of the ones in this area anyway, they have roll-up doors, as do a lot of the other stores in the area, grocery stores, furniture stores. They all kind of look like, back in the States, would look like a storage garage. They're just the concrete block buildings with an opening in the front that has a roll-up door, metal roll-up door. And then when the place is closed, they just roll the door closed. And so they're just a great big opening where guys can back their trucks up and load stuff directly from the stores. You know, it's very easy when it's a furniture store or a hardware store where you've got large construction materials. You know, you can just back the truck up and load it up. So anyway, I'm going to show you a few pictures of what the hardware stores in my area look like. So I hope you enjoyed this little shopping trip. That's it for this week. I see you next week. Hope you have a good one. Bye.